rather than having faith in God, have faith in a currency. And the currency is a false faith. We know that. Faith in gold and silver isn't really anything more than something that people have trusted for thousands of years, and it can't be inflated away. So I think that's a transition where we all get back on the same page and say, okay, look, here's the problem. We couldn't trust our government to keep a currency stable. We can trust a gold coin. It's going to always be a gold coin of this weight. And today I value it for that much of a house or that much of bushels of wheat or whatever it be. And that brings us back to kind of a universal platform of understanding true value. I've said when you can lie about money, you can lie about anything.
In today's news recap, silver holds lower as dollar strength weighs. Silver prices hovered around $36.60 per ounce on Friday and were on track for a weekly loss of about 4%, pressured by a stronger U.S. dollar. The dollar's strength was underpinned by renewed trade tensions after President Donald Trump reaffirmed a 10% global tariff and imposed reciprocal levies of up to 41% on countries without finalized trade deals. Investors also remained cautious ahead of the July U.S. jobs report, which is expected to guide the Federal Reserve's next policy move. On Thursday, core PCE prices, the Fed's preferred inflation gauge, rose 0.3% in June and 2.8% year on year, further muddying the outlook for a potential rate cut in September. Separately, Trump reignited criticism of Fed Chair Jerome Powell for holding off on rate cuts, ending a brief period of calm between the White House and the central bank. Now we'll show you the best clips of the latest interview. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you do not miss out our daily recaps. And check goldsilverstacks.com to get your Stacker's Handbook, the ultimate guide to stack gold and silver, packed with strategies to trade the gold-silver ratio and get more ounces and build wealth over time, so you don't have to rely on market commentators to make your investment decisions. Enjoy the episode.
I know, my people that follow me, whether they're, paid members or not, I mean, they look at, some of us that have a pretty good track record for guidance. I wouldn't say, I don't have a crystal ball. I certainly have made some good calls. I've made some errors. But I think that you got to be objective in this business. It's hard because there's so much emotion around money to begin with, let alone sound money and the argument for, truth in the financial system, which is rare. But with all that aside, you have to stay realistic. And, to put a number out there of, 600 or 1,000 or whatever for silver, you can do whatever you want. I'm free market. That's free market thinking. And maybe in terms of how much the currency's depreciated, that would be the real price. But that's, the market knows more than anybody. And yeah, the market is manipulated. It has been proven. But I don't want to go down that path right now. What I want to do is reiterate what you said, Elijah. And that is, what really got me more solidified as I'll call myself a gold bug. I don't really consider myself that, but I'll use that moniker, was The Invisible Crash by James Dines, one of the first books I read on hard money. And what he pointed out was that the stock market keeps making larger and larger numbers, but in terms of gold, it's actually going down. And that's a real eye-opener. And I said that on your father's last time your dad interviewed me. And I really enjoyed, speaking that. And he actually wrote me back, said, David, I'm not seeing that. The AI is not telling me that. So I got a chart for him and I sent it to him. I said, well, there you go. There's the proof. But this is part of the manipulation is, it's, I won't say it's mind control, but it's propaganda. Because if you have a constant, gold's a constant, then that measures everything. And a dollar is not a constant. In fact, what is the price of gold? It's just showing you the depreciation of the dollar or the paper currency versus something that is constant, an ounce of gold. And so, again, I'm glad we're having this discussion because I think it's a good fundamental place or a foundational point that people need to kind of redigest, perhaps. Speaking for myself, get a better handle on what do I really want to focus on? Do I want to focus on $10,000 gold, or do I want to focus on where is the economy? What does it buy? How valuable is it? Heck, if we're buying houses, as Andy said, for this, a good price vis-a-vis gold, and let's say you could buy 2 houses for that same amount of gold, hey, wake up and see the light. Gold's probably overpriced at that point.
In today's news recap, gold's tug of war, America cashes out, Asia holds the line. In the West, American retail punters are folding their gold hands like it's the final round of a Vegas cash game, tapping out after a gilded run, convinced that Trump's tariff circus is just smoke, not fire. Bullion dealers are swimming in American Eagles, premiums shaved down to deli slice levels, and sellers now paying just to offload. It's a garage sale in gold's heartland, a land where financial euphoria flows fast, but vault fees hit harder. Meanwhile, over in Asia, the tone couldn't be more different. Across China, India, and Southeast Asia, gold isn't a trade. It's trauma insurance. This isn't some Reddit-fueled moonshot. It's survival in a bar. These buyers aren't flipping. They're fortifying. Stacking gold isn't a flex. It's a family strategy written into generational DNA. The divergence is stark. Americans treat gold like a meme stock. Ride the hype, dump the bag, move on. Asians, they're loading lifeboats. When you've weathered currency collapses, coups, and IMF handshakes, a slab of metal in your drawer feels a hell of a lot more real than a brokerage app login. This is the 90-year-old tide of gold in motion, the ebb and flood between West and East. The West sets the price with institutional bravado, while the East waits with monk-like calm and gobbles up what the West discards. Prices rise, the West dishoards. Prices drop, the East reloads. It's not just a cycle, it's choreography. Don't mistake America's retail exit as gold's swan song. That's just the tide pulling back. The real move, China's physical demand up double digits. Southeast Asia posting 30% plus gains in bar and coin buying. While Western investors chase whatever's flashing green, Asia's quietly stacking. And here's the kicker. Even as U.S. retail pukes out ounces, central banks and sovereign funds are hoarding like medieval warlords. Now we'll show you the best clips of the latest interview, but first, smash the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and check our new Numismatics handbook. Most stackers want to get active, but swapping their metals for dollars isn't an option. There's plenty of opportunities in the overlooked numismatics world. Mastering U.S. coins, key dates, and errors pays off by multiplying your ounces and capitalizing where others aren't paying attention.
Holding, precious metals, something I've advocated since before I began on the internet. But it's part of your portfolio. In other words, that's my specialty. That's what I advocate, and I'll give you the reasons why. But really, if we want to benefit, that paradox of, a win-win situation where your investments are helping you to have a better lifestyle, and at the same time, what you invested in is also helping society with a better lifestyle or cleaner air, better water, better food, easier way of doing things, better communications, whatever it is. That's the paradox. You can, as a true capitalist, you can benefit yourself and society at large. And that's largely what I want to be on. I want to be on that where we're helping each other with, our, let's say, wise choices with what we invest in. However, when you get in a distorted situation like we've been in for many decades now, and really it happened before August 15th, 1971, when Nixon closed the gold window, because we were lying before then, and that's why he closed the gold window. We said the dollar's as good as gold, but it hadn't been for a long time. Basically got caught and said, I got to stop that contract, or I'm closing the gold window, as we refer to it. So the point is, we've got to come back to those basics. And you're right, there will be a time. Now, from my perspective right now, I think we're still going toward a system that's being pushed or propagandized, if that's a word, into a system of more control, not less. And the more freedom the people have with their money, the more freedom we have overall. And the more control the bankers have of the money, the more control they have overall. So I think we're at a nexus where there's a lot of people like you that have dedicated your life since, I think, age 16. I've done it most of my life to get the ideology out that, there is a direct correlation between free market economics and freedom versus some other system that really controls the system. And so we are at a very interesting point in history, but I'm just going to circle back and say you're correct. There will be a new one. And it's not necessarily the one that we have been taught about, and I've talked about, the CBDCs or a private version of the CBDC. I think that is the push. I think that's what they want. I've talked about it. I've been consistent about it. But I also hopefully have said it enough that just because that's what they want does not mean that's what's going to take place.
What do you think of Morgan's take? Do you agree with him? Are you buying more gold and silver at these prices? Or on the contrary, are you selling like most other retails? Post your honest opinion in the comments section down below and share your gold and silver price predictions with the Stacker community. Now check out this next video right here because it's the perfect follow-up for you. I'll see you on the other side.